Hey everybody, welcome back to FSi DFS, looking at the 7-game main slate here for tonight on Wednesday. We got the sheet, we got the rankings, we'll pull that all up here in a couple of minutes, but let's start talking about some of these pitchers first and foremost. So, cream of the crop, 5-figure guys, Screwball and Sale, and I'm going to be taking Screwball over Sale, especially in cash games, head-to-heads, double-ups. I think the floor that he provides and the upside that he has in this matchup, facing off against a very high strikeout rate team in Seattle, is going to turn the scales over towards Screwball. Now, it's not saying that Sale is a bad choice by any means. Sale is still a player that can have tournament winning upside, and I think he's a great tournament pivot off of Screwball. Like, if you are going to be paying 5 figures for one of these pitchers in tournaments, head towards Sale. He's going to see half the ownership, but he's still Chris Sale. He has 30 plus point DK upside in any start. He is facing off against Milwaukee. He just faced them in his last start. I am hesitant, as you know, of playing the pitcher the same time back-to-back when he sees the same team. That was terrible grammar, but you know what I meant. So a little bit of hesitancy in that. Regardless, I still think that in tournaments, the upside is still always there for him to hit that 30-plus DK point performance and get that tournament winning upside. After them, Bradley and Reagan's the only two guys priced above 9K. I don't have a whole heap ton of interest in either of these guys. Bradley, definitely more so. Not Bradley. Reagan's more so than Bradley. Now, Bradley, he's got a little bit of a sour taste. I still have a little sour taste in my mouth from his last start. I think a lot of us do. He faced off against Miami right after the trade deadline, and Miami traded away like their 3 best hitters and an already bad offense, and he didn't do so well. It was one of his worst performances on the season. So I can see his ownership certainly getting reduced by that. He's still a phenomenal pitcher, and the upside is still certainly there. I mean, right before that, he had 3 straight quality shutout starts. Just awesome. But I still am going to lean a little bit more so towards Reagan's. Boston mashes righties and do very, very well against righties, but they have a lot of strikeout issues and strikeout concerns against lefties. So I'm actually going to be siding with Reagan's on this side. I certainly think that he can potentially, in that ceiling game, can certainly get to 8-9 strikeouts in this matchup just because Boston does strike out so much. You can see he's faced them here earlier on in the month. 7 strikeouts in that game, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run. So Boston really struggles against lefties, and I'm going to use that split statistical advantage in my favor and go with Reagan's over Bradley. None of these guys are fades, but it's going to be Screwball, Sale, Reagan's, and then Bradley for me. So let's head over towards the sheet, and you can kind of see I just ranked them like that. Going over to the mid-tier, I think it's Kirby and then a very large gap. And after that gap, I think it gets pretty ugly for the remainder of pitchers. I'm definitely going to be having a lot of Screwball and Kirby combinations. If you want to go like a Reagan's and Kirby, get a little bit more savings to spend up for bats, I would completely understand that. But Kirby facing off against Detroit just, man, like their lineup's just really struggling here. Is it going to load? Maybe not. Guess it doesn't want to load. But Kirby facing off against a very weak Detroit lineup at only 8.8K. He's going to be a really popular pitcher. It wouldn't shock me if he is the most popular pitcher on the board, especially given the salary that he's at. I could see a double pitcher in this game and just really expecting and hoping for like a 4-2 final, which I certainly think could be in the cards. And again, I mentioned after Kirby, it's just kind of a bit of a drop-off. Yeah, you have Peralta and the strikeout upside that he can bring. Facing off against Atlanta, still a scary team. On paper, I know they just have not seemed to have put it together. Like, they're still a solid offense. I feel like I talk sometimes in these videos that Atlanta's offense is just woefully terrible. They're still a solid team. And Peralta does have that boom or bust kind of pitching mentality, and that when he's on, he's really on and can do very well, but when he's off, it can get really ugly really quickly. Crawford and Fedde, not too much interest in either of them. Fedde a little bit more so than Crawford, facing off against Tampa Bay and that weakened lineup. Going into the cheap tier, it's a lot of ugliness. You have Stone, who's really struggling facing off against Philadelphia. Phillips might be my favorite guy in this board. He's shown the most capabilities this season in his starts, but he's facing off against the Dodgers. And do I really want to pay for a pitcher, or do I really trust a pitcher facing off against the Dodgers? Not so much. I know 7K, a little bit cheaper. It's not going to really burn your lineups by any means, but it's tournament play only for me. Blackburn, he's on the Mets now, if you haven't known, and did really well in his start. However, he is facing off in Coors Field. There's also that rain threat that we have to be paying attention to. We don't want what happened last night and that Snell goes out, or Cease goes out, pitches, and then, hey, rain delay. Still think that Pittsburgh did that on purpose. But Blackburn, no interest really because of the rain and Coors Field, and then everybody else is just like, ugh, gross. So Kirby and Screwball I think are going to be two popular options, and I think my favorite GPP pivots off of those guys are going to be Reagans for the Kirby and Sale for Screwball. Heading over towards the bats, the Mets and Coors Field, really don't need to talk too much about that. Facing off against Feltner, play the Mets, we love them. Baltimore, after them, I really do like them in their matchup. They got some cheap guys as well. They're going to be facing off against Francis for Toronto. Anytime you can get Baltimore against a right-handed pitcher, they're going to be one of the higher stacks on the day, just because they have so many lefties that are so dominant. Jackson Holliday, he's back up in the majors, and he is swinging a very solid bat right now. He's still super cheap at only 3.2K. Take advantage of this cheap salary tag when you got it. Colton Cowser at 4.3. He's also just smashing the ball as of late. And you can quickly see that with Screwball, Kirby, and then two top Baltimore bats, we still have 4K remaining for the rest of our lineup to throw some guys in. The Mets, they're a bit more expensive. Facing off against Feltner, you're probably going to see Jesse Winker being thrust back into the lineup here at 4.2, so you can throw him in there, and then you're probably going to be wanting, either a Lindor or Nimmo. But if you don't want to go Lindor at 6.1K, but you still want to pay up, you can go with a guy like Gunnar Henderson. But then you have Bobby Witt there as well, in a nice matchup facing off against Crawford. So I think at shortstop, it's a pay up kind of slate. Just which one do you want to pay up for? All three of these guys are in phenomenal matchups. Henderson, hopefully he got a good night's sleep and can forget about his night last night. I hope I'm thinking of the right guy. But Henderson, I think I saw had 4 strikeouts, went 0 for 5. 3 strikeouts, went 0 for 4. Just disastrous last night for him. So maybe he got a good night's sleep and he's feeling good. But yeah, definitely pay up for shortstop. We'll throw Henderson in there just to see what it does with his salary. Gets a little iffy if you do have Winker in there. Take him out, 3.4K, go cheaper catcher. And there's going to be some other cheaper options as well out there. Guys on Kansas City. I mean, you got guys 4K and cheaper throughout the course of that lineup. Massey could be a nice lefty-righty matchup at only 4K, I think. But you're not really going to play him because you're probably going to be going with Jackson Holliday at second base. Regardless, Kansas City does have those cheap bats that you can target. And then the last team I want to talk about here is Philadelphia in terms of tournaments, in terms of GPP. Let's take out salary. Let's take out ownership. Okay? We have an elite offense in the league with a very high home run upside throughout the course of their lineup. Stolen base upside throughout their lineup. Facing off against a pitcher who is really struggling as of late, allowing 4 or 5 earned runs essentially every single start as of late. And that's only going like 5 innings. They still get the bullpen to face off against. So Philadelphia looking really good. Now let's take into account the salary. They're expensive. They are really expensive, and they're very top-loaded with guys like Schwarber and guys like Harper and guys like Turner. It's going to be tough to get a big mega stack on them, especially if you're going to be paying up for guys like Kirby and guys like Screwball. Now, if you think Philadelphia's going to do really well, maybe you get one off of Screwball, and then you go down towards a guy like Phillips, who, like I said, has shown capabilities of doing well this season. It's just the matchup against the Dodgers is quite scary. But we take out Phillips. Man, my guys don't want to load there. But we take out Holliday, we take out Henderson, we take out Cowser. Okay, if we go Kirby, Phillips, we got 4K remaining for the rest of our bats. We'll go with Harper. We'll go with Schwarber. We'll go with the two big power lefties. I will say, though, Harper has really, really not had a great past month stretch. I got him in my season long, and I'm to the point I'm thinking about benching him on sometimes. It's been that bad. But, I mean, we'll throw in Castellanos. Maybe a world event will happen today, and he's going to hit a home run here tonight. Sosa, Marsh. Yeah, we'll just throw in our higher salary guy. But 3.5K for a larger Philadelphia stack if you go with Phillips, because if the Philadelphia stack goes off, maybe Phillips can be in line for the win. Now, they're not going to see a whole lot of ownership just because they are so expensive. It's going to be tougher to get in Kirby and another higher salary tier guy. You kind of have to go to this cheap tier, which I don't think many people are going to want to venture towards. And so, yeah, Philadelphia is going to be my favorite GPP play on this slate. So, hopefully this was able to kind of guide you in the right direction. Obviously, Colorado's in play, Dodgers in play, and then leverage stacks against what I think are going to be the more popular pitchers in terms of ownership. So thanks for watching. As always, good luck in your contests here. Mega Roar is going to be back tomorrow on Thursday, and then I'll be back on Friday and Saturday. See you.